Hello my fellow TBC gamers, welcome to another video by Tauren TBC. It's been about 2 weeks since the last one, that's because finding a team is super hard. Now, we found this team for a week, just to get some 5v5 points, and we managed to make a push all the way to a team rating of 1750. I believe my personal rating on the team was 1710, something like that. Anyways, so this first comp, you'll notice that our hunter is the person that is going to be applying the Mortal Strike, or in hunter terms, aim shot. So he is our shot caller. The other team's taking forever to get places. Our mage locks them back there, so I just get to start messing around, throwing chain lightnings, pretty low damage stuff. Our first target has been called at this point, usually the mage. Mage is super out of position, drops his first block, waiting for him to come out of block. And at this point, our priest could... This is our first game as a team, by the way, so we're just kind of throwing some spells around, getting the feel of it. Hunter is waiting to call the shot again. And, of course, I'm just going to target the hunter. Sorry, not the hunter, the warrior. The warrior usually finds himself out of position, easy to kill. Me and Mage can have the shot. Here comes my damage here. That's my elemental nature swiftness use, so at this point I'm just a purge bot. So as an elemental shaman, your job is to keep things purged. Your teammates, as mine did, will tell you, why aren't you doing damage? What the heck? Well, your damage comes in the period of a couple of seconds, so your job is to purge. So you'll notice that the shaman that we just killed was fully purged. He got, an earth shield up thinking that it would help him out. Instant purge off. It keeps defensives easily purged, such as the Druid's Innervate, or a priest's powered shield. If you have something fully purged, it's an easy purge off. We went for the shaman there because he was way out of position, and we just had a full wombo combo waiting for him. So at this point, we're just cleaning up the game. And to be frank, when you get to this point in 5s and 5v4, you can still lose, but you'll notice that most of their healers are out of mana. If their Warlock would have been a little bit more on top of cursing our entire party and making sure that we were all constantly being trained, we probably could have lost this game. However, that was not the case, so we didn't really have to deal with it. You'll see my mage switch with me onto the warrior pretty soon here. There's the Frost Nova, that's the kind of the signal. You'll see a lightning bolt into a chain lightning Earthshock, and that's it. Anyways, that's kind of how the comp works. This is a 4v5. One of our healers didn't get brought into the game, so I wanted to include it, however, because we played it pretty interestingly. They rushed us and we rushed them, which is pretty hilarious, and then we just went out and rushed again. Warrior overextends here. Second warrior actually. Very much overextends, so we just get a pretty easy open onto him, and isn't getting very much heals thanks to our Mage's CC. So I'm just going to cannon out as much as I can, which will end up killing him. We're going to swap over to the other warrior. I'm going to throw out a heal here, because at this point, our second healer didn't join the game. Right there, you saw that my hunter called out that a target got below 50%, which is basically execute range for an elemental shaman. So I pop my cooldowns and drop another guy. So this ends up being a 4v5, and it's all thanks to a warrior overextending. So if anybody ever thinks warriors are a bad target for elemental shaman PvP, you're wrong. Frankly, as a blanket statement, you just don't want a blanket statement bad target warriors, because they actually are pretty awesome, especially if they YOLO zug charge at you. Alright, this game, we actually have our full team, and again, we're dealing with a Warlock Druid. The first thing that I need to do is, once we determine our target, which is most likely going to be the shaman, unfortunately as a shaman we deal with the phrase see blue, kill blue, and their shaman is going to experience that, so I'm going to start getting purges off. Their mage is going to be pushing around, and I'm just trying to get sneaky purges off, which is what every elemental shaman should be doing at the start of a game. You can play pretty aggressively in the comp that I'm running, because we have a druid who's stealth, and if someone opens onto me, we can, make sure that I don't get easily whomped in one fatal swoop. So the whole point of just waiting for someone to be out of position, our mage and the hunter work together to call a target. At this point, the mage is looking good target. We swap over to the shaman here, and this is most likely going to be his death. There's my cooldowns. So it's pretty hard to recover from that. They have two healers. They have one healer, sorry, a druid. So we just knew that we were able to focus on one target and kill him. The rest of this game, it's not over quite yet, because they still have a Warlock and a Druid and a Warrior. So as you guys know, WLD is a very strong 3s comp and can actually carry a 5s comp. However, not the case for this Warlock. He was unstable Affliction, I believe, or something, because he took a lot of damage, maybe forgot to activate his Soul Link, and that's the game. Unfortunately, I think these guys were kind of a bad team. As you can see, this warrior was just kind of goofing around with his protection spec Thunderfury. I mean, I get it. You want points, but their team CR was actually pretty high, so that's unfortunate for them. Anyways, moving forward, so I'm just checking out my teammates here. We had a great rest of Druid. So our hunter, again, is a shot caller, and in 5s, you always want to have a shot caller, the person that usually applies the Mortal Strike effect, whether it's a rogue with wound poison, a warrior with Mortal Strike, an aim shot from a hunter. They're usually your shot caller, because their job is to catch someone out of position, get the Mortal Strike effect up, and then call out for the team's burst, which for us is a Frost Mage and Elemental Shaman, which, for the record, is my favorite 2s comp. Anyways, I'm just going to kill a grounding totem because I need it to get out of the way. The warrior takes the bait, so he's going to come over here, going to get an easy full purge. He's going to get hit by a couple bolts of lightning. At this point, we're soft opening. You see that I haven't popped Bloodlust yet. Our hunter hasn't quite called the target. I'm kind of shouting, like, go on this warrior because he's way out of position. So is this rogue. Essentially, we've pulled their entire team behind this brick. Our hunter pops his BM, nukes the rogue. At this point, I'm dueling with the shaman, making sure that he can't get any cast off. You'll see that I interrupt his chain lightning. I'm not prioing interrupting the healer right now, because at this point, I'm just trying to stop their damage, and it's just a train wreck for them. So that's a full team wipe. Took about 15 seconds. GG. Alright, anyways, next game. So this is a lot of people's least favorite map is Elemental Shaman. You have to take center. It's so important for the shaman to get the power position on the top of the tomb. You'll see that's exactly what I go for. I'm going to drop my totems before we get out of position. I'm going to start getting purges on everything I can, even the Warlock, because they're not necessarily our target, but at least I'm getting purges. At this point, we've called the Mage as our target, or is that a priest? It's a priest, sorry. That's their healing priest. So I've been out pop Bloodlust. I'm kind of out of position, risking it for the biscuit here. And because of that, I get CS'd into a fear. And then it wasn't an improved CS though, thankfully. Into my burst onto this priest. You'll see that I'm pretty much in the open doing my damage. And this is going to be my execute right there. See how I kind of use that like an execute? I was in the middle of a lightning bolt cast, and if I wanted to be greedy, I could have kept going, but instead I used my cooldowns and got the execute. I noticed my priest is calling out for help and our druid's being trained, so I go ahead and go throw him a couple heals, which is the benefit of being Elemental Shaman. You have a decent mana pool. Although you want to use it mostly for damage, you're a very utility-centric class. And the biggest complaint I have for myself this game is you'll see that none of my totems are down. No spell power totem, no tremor totem. Yes, you know, I'm purging, I'm doing a good job there, but I've got a couple extra globals that could definitely be used for totems. So I realized that, throw down my totems, but at this point, the game's basically over. As you see, like I said on that last game, the last people left over are WLD. So this game is far from over. We're all and the goal is just to all train our DPS onto one guy and their healer, which is pretty easy considering we can purge off everything they do. And now it's the game, because warriors are easy to kill on their own, especially when you have a Frost Mage. It's just so delightful. I've had multiple people on my channel ask me what to do when you have a warrior on you. Play with the Frost Mage. That's the answer. Anyways, moving forward. So you'll see that I go put my totems below the bridge, which is a super strong spot. Nobody called that they were coming for me, and this is my death. So I included this game because I wanted to teach everybody that watches this channel what not to do. You'll see that I dropped my totems in a really powerful position. What I should have done is looked before I went. I've been doing this for like 2 hours at this point, and I wanted to make sure that I was just doing the same thing every game. And I got called for my bluff. So there we go. That's basically the game. My team almost pulls off a call on the Hunter because they're super burstable in PvE gear. Unfortunately, they return the favor on our Hunter, and now it's the game because all we have left is a Frost Mage and 2 healers. So again, under the bridge is a great place for your totems because tremor, spell damage, everything, it can all trigger from below the bridge. However, if you know that they're going to run and burst you, that's a really bad place to be. As you can see, I was just waddling around uselessly, and I wanted to do spectator mode so I could show you what actually was going on here. Our mage was a pretty dang good player, and that he kept this going for quite a while, but there's only so much you can do against 3 DPS and 2 healers and a Warlock. You'll notice also that I like to play with Druids and Mages, and that's because whenever I play against a Warlock, a good Warlock should keep you with Curse of Tongues, and they can decurse. Anyways, again, so let's get up to the power position. The goal is get to the front here, get on top of the tomb. We give them the tomb because they beat us to it, and they're going full wombo mode. So at this point, I'm purging everybody I can. You'll see that I'm basically just clicking around everywhere in panic. Not my best moment there because I was clicking the water elemental. Getting a full purge, and then we missed the execute because they got the block and the nature swiftness. So if you'll see this pally over here, he's about to very, very die. He's going to be out of position in just a moment. See how he's over the priest? Our warrior, sorry, not our warrior. We get the target call onto the pally, and here's the frost bolt slowing him down, and this is going to be all of our burst. So that's the glory of the comp, is that when you see a melee DPS out of position like that, especially when they're in crappy PvE gear, you can execute them pretty quickly. Just make sure you have your target caller that's aware of how to do that. Anyways, they actually do get the kill. This is a melee wombo comp, and they get the kill onto our healer, so this is actually a pretty close game at this point, 4v4. And I missed a polymorph right there onto my mage. Should have interrupted that. And we're going to call the target onto this shaman, I believe. Waiting. At this point, I'm purging until our hunter calls the target, which is basically the whole point of his job, is to shoot a name shot and call the kill target. And our mage got a CS on Frost onto their mage, and the mage and the hunter were able to burst down the mage. So at this point, we're 4v3, and we have the advantage. So the ending of this game is going to be us just purging everybody, making sure they're out of mana. I go for a drink, and it goes a lot longer than we need to, but I'd like to talk about one thing here. So you'll notice that this game, I didn't do very much damage. My job as the shaman is to purge, heal, and interrupt. And the interrupt job was not my specialty this game. In fact, that's something I'm working on pretty avidly. If you guys see anything I can improve upon, let me know. But one thing that you'll notice whenever you play with an elemental shaman, or as an elemental shaman, you will have a couple of games where you pop off, but the only reason that's going to happen is because you're not being trained. Generally, elemental shamans get trained, and your job is to line up your burst with your teams. So you press a couple of buttons when it means the most, and if you don't land a kill with that, it's pretty detrimental. The Frost Mage, my teammate, is doing a great job of peeling their melee off me. This is going to be the warrior's death, I think. But the whole point of playing elemental shaman is to keep their team purged and interrupted. At this point, I call the target. I see a pretty easy kill onto this shaman. I'm going to get an interrupt. I call the switch. My hunter's over there, pops his cooldown again. I get a good crit, and that should be the death of the shaman, which is their healer that had all the mana. Their priest is their warrior is, well, a warrior. And that really doesn't matter, so I throw a heal to my druid because he's being trained by the warrior, and if we survive his damage, we win, and we do. So that is that game, and a small lesson for those of you that are watching. Anyways, moving into our last game. So this last game was one of my favorites, and the comp I'm playing, by the way, if I were to change anything, I would swap our priest for a holy pally, but holy paladins don't exist. I don't know why, but they literally just don't exist. If you ever see two warriors, they're most likely going to be the aggressor team, so we're waiting behind a pillar to control them. Their target, the target that I want to go after and start getting purges is their shaman. But here we are, onto the shaman. Get like 6 purges in a row. See how I'm just taking off all of his protection? Done. And then I use the execute. And then I swap over to being a healer. Save against their damage. Looking for that priest, I believe. Yep. And that's going to be a death. Our priest gets nuked because this is a full melee team. 2 warriors and 1 rep pally. So at this point, our group of 4 is just trying to catch people out of position. So all their melee DPS easily gets pulled out. They have 1 pally who's going to be the target because Blessing of Freedom is insane. And now that's the win. So this comp we're playing is full range. So whenever we see a melee comp, it's really just putting down frost traps and frost novas when they're out of position. And then you just walk away from them. Feels awesome. And that's the game. So again, with melee comps, you wait for them. Do not push a melee comp. Your goal is just to pull them out of position and take the game away from them. So that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I got to around 1750 during this push, but I still have yet to find a consistent 5s team. So I've built one for the coming week, and I will post a video here within the next couple of days, preferably in the next 4 days, with a full walkthrough of our comp and how we're doing it. A little spoiler alert, we're playing the 2-3-4-6 comp, if you know what that is. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Peace.